If it is your first time on today's session, please do let me know. If it is your first time on today's session, please do let me know. Drop a 4 in the chat box. So if it is your first time, just so I can kind of gauge. Okay, hi Valerie. Welcome to today's session on liberty. Lovely to have you with us. Anyone else? So we've got one newbie. One newbie, fantastic. So that's still good. Either way, it's still good. I'm sure people kind of trickle in afterwards now that we've started. So just to talk about myself, so my name is Shante Odewole. I'm a wife and mother of 3. If you can count a puppy, because yeah, it's like having another child. So that one as well. Platinum leader, also a former secondary and sixth form teacher, and the owner of Kingdom Kids Childcare, which is based here in Basildon, an educationist, an investment property owner, school governor, and a business for homes recommended distributor. So, you know, lots of different, we're all from different backgrounds, lots of different professions, and it's wonderful to have you all with me learning and going through the strategy called Liberty today. If you haven't connected with me already, connect with me here on Instagram, just Shante_Odewole. Okay, so with HFX, what HFX is it's time-based trading. Okay, so time-based trading means that you are going in essentially for 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 15-minute trades. Okay, it's not like your traditional Forex. So if you think about traditional Forex, you usually see all these different graphs, all these different indicators, lots of different colors, and you may be in that trade for a few hours, a few days, a few weeks, and so on and so forth. So this is for this, you know, HFX is perfect for those that, you know, have a busy life, because it means that once you have learned the strategy alongside following some of our educators, and don't forget, when you follow the educators, it's not a thing of, you know, I've learned the strategy myself and I don't need to watch any educators. You plug in. Okay, the more you plug in, the more voltage you have. Okay, so plug in with the educators, learn from what they're doing, as well as, you know, it's optional if you want to take their trades, but learn, you know, because they're using the same scanners that you will be utilizing yourself and learning for yourself as well. I actually had one of my people message me, and you know, she was so happy, and I was so happy for her as well, because she was taking trades by herself. She was clearing trades by herself. She's actually on this call, and when she just, you know, by chance had Million in the background, they were taking the same trade, and this person had gotten in at the exact entry that Millie Mills had called out. So that in itself is progress, because don't forget, like anything, you start off small. Everything is a learning curve. And the way I like to describe this is like riding a bike. Obviously, you start off with the stabilizers. Your stabilizers are essentially the educators, because they're kind of helping you to kind of gain the strategy yourself and the platform you're learning from. Eventually, you're going to be able to ride that bike by yourself. And once you do so, it's always a skill that will always be there. You know, it will never be forgotten. So, you know, well done to the person that is on this call as well, because I know she will know it's her. But, you know, it's fantastic because you feel a sense of pride in yourself and excitement, because you know from that stage forward, things will only get better and better till you know, you turn into a semi-pro. It's like football, right? So all your profits are fixed percentages. Try and go for payout rates that have 70 or above. Okay, ideally you want a 70% payout rate. It just means, you know, for every £10 you put down, you have £7 profit back plus your 10. You don't want to go for 60%. If there is 60%, if it's a great, you know, if it's a great trade, all well and good, that's fine as well. However, that's the one you should be aiming for. So if you do find one that is 60%, you know, and it's a great setup, by all means, you know, you can take it. But yeah, those are just the ones that you ideally want to aim for. Obviously, the risk to reward for HFX time-based trading is different to traditional Forex. You know, traditional Forex, you can start with 10p. You could put down 10p and turn it into £20. There's a bit more scope for risk to reward. Okay, so to show you how to access Liberty, okay, you can access it in two ways. Okay, so there's two ways, or two main ways to access Liberty. Now, you can go through the IM Center. Okay, so im.center. And if you scroll down to strategies and click on strategies and scroll down and click HFX, obviously I have all the packages. So that's why they're all colored. Yours may not all be colored. And you click HFX and you will see Liberty. You can just click on this icon. However, you do not have to go through that same process every time to access it. So if you do go through this area, once you click on it, just bookmark the page because it will save you time later on. If not, you can just type in goliberty.im. Okay, so just goliberty.im. Once again, go into your bookmarks and bookmarking that page so that you are able to access that at any time, nice and easily. Okay, so once you open the Liberty scanner, okay, Liberty is the name of the scanner. The strategy that we have open in front of us is called the Webslinger. Okay, so there are different strategies. So if I click here where it says strategies, you have two different versions of Simple Scalper. So you have Simple Scalper Original. It's like saying, the first. That's like the first one that ever came out. And you have Simple Scalper 2.0. That is the most updated recent one, which was brought out end of January. And then you have Pickpocket and Webslinger. Okay, so the one we have open in front of us here is Webslinger. Why is it called Webslinger? Well, one of my theories and why I like to, let me just click on a different currency, why I like to see that it's a web string. If you think of a spider web, these are the little web strings. Each of these lines that you see, they're just EMAs. Okay, so they're spread open like a web string. If you see, a spider starting to form their spider web, it's never complete because obviously it's quite squashed together. Okay, whereas if you look at when it's nicely spread out, that means a full spider web has formed. Okay, so once you see these clouds, so we have clouds. These are these clouds here. So you've got a red cloud and you have a blue cloud. Okay, when you are wanting to go for a sell, you want the price to be below the red cloud. So as you can see, you've got a red cloud here and you have price below it. Okay, in addition to this, you also want to see that the web strings are spread out. Okay, so you want to see that they are spread out nice and even, or nice and wide. And if you are going in for a buy, you want price to be above the blue clouds. So as you can see here, price is above the blue clouds, and this is where you can take your buy opportunities. What you don't want to do is just see a buy and just enter in. Okay, by doing that, you are reducing your your clear rate. In other words, by doing additional analysis, which we're going to go through today, you are heightening the amount of trades that you can clear, because what you're going to be doing is avoiding areas of reversal or areas where a trade may hit and then go in the opposite direction. Okay, so what you first do when you open up Liberty, let me just zoom out, there we go. On the right hand side where I'm moving my cursor, you can see that you have a range of different currencies. Okay, and what this alert panel does is it's scanning the market and it's flagging up any potential trades that are buys or sells. Okay, so even if you have for example this trade here, it says that it was called 3 hours ago. It doesn't matter, you can still click on that trade and look for a good setup. So you will automatically be on the 1 hour time frame. Okay, so it doesn't matter if it says 3 hours ago, you can still look at taking trades from that currency pair if it shows to be a good setup, which I'll also move on to in a moment. Okay, it's still staying within this alert panel. You can also see that it gives you the currency strength. Okay, so it says AUD 36 and USD is 71. Okay, 71 is a stronger number. Because 71 is a stronger number and it's at the bottom, in other words, this is at the top, AUD is at the top, USD is at the bottom. Because USD is at the bottom, we want to sell. For example, this one here, USD is at the top, being 71, and JPY is at the bottom being 56. Because USD is at the top, that means you want to buy because the top currency is stronger. Okay, so this is a good way of knowing which direction ideally you want to be going in. So this AUD USD, where we can see the USD is at the bottom, ideally we only want to be looking for sell setups. Okay, so that's how you kind of look on this right-hand side panel. Now, when you open up Liberty, we're going to go through the steps now. Okay, when you open up Liberty, it is going to be in the 1 hour time frame. Okay, automatically, that's just the default. What you're going to do first is change this to 5 minutes. So step number 1, change it to 5 minutes time frame. Okay, just by clicking here and making sure you click on the 5 minutes. Once you have done that, you're going to look to see if it's a good setup or not. Okay, what I can see with this is it's underneath a blue cloud. Remember what we said, if for a buy, we want it to be above a blue cloud. For a sell, we want it to be beneath a red cloud. This isn't a red cloud. However, I can see that there are some really good opportunities for sells here. I can also see that the web string is spread open, and I can also see that it should be moving into a red cloud quite soon. Okay, so what we're going to do, this is probably where your area of floor is, so your support. If you're not too sure what a support or resistance is, I will also go through that in just a moment. Okay, so this is your support. I can see that clearly because price reached here. It went all the way down here, but it reached here and then bounced off. And it looks like price is going to do the same thing. So when we get a nice pullback, ideally, I would actually look to, I would still wait for price to return to this area here before trying to go in for a sell. But that would be a great area or great zone to kind of enter in at. Okay, so let me just do that. So once you've done that and you're on the 5 minute time frame, it looks like a good setup. What you're then going to do is go to step 2. So step 2 is changing it back to your 1 hour time frame. Okay, so changing it back to your 1 hour time frame. So step 1, check on 5 minute time frame to see if it's a good setup for a buy or sell. If it is, step number 2, go to 1 hour. Okay, on your 1 hour time frame, what we're going to be doing, I'm just going to go to this panel here, and I personally like to use horizontal ray. Okay, so I use horizontal ray for, marking up my zones. I prefer it because I feel like it's less messy. Because if you do horizontal line, it puts a line across the whole page. If I just show you, let's just go on to horizontal line. It puts a line across the whole page, which I don't actually like, especially because I'm not knowing where I've marked up that specific area. Okay, so what I do like to use is use horizontal ray, because where I click is where it will start the line from. Okay, so I'm just going to delete that one. So what you're going to do is be marking up your highs and lows, essentially. Okay, so you have a resistance, which is your ceiling. And then you have your support, which is your floor. Okay, so your ceiling is usually red, i.e. your resistance, and your floor is usually blue. You do not have to put them color coded. I'm just letting you know so that when you are, or if you have traded with the educators, or you started to trade with the educators, you know what you're looking at. Okay, so I can see there is a high here. So I'm going to mark this up red once again, because that's my resistance. So it's like your ceiling. Price left here, it touched the ceiling, it couldn't go any further, and then bounced back down. And this was my last low for this area. Obviously, price has been lower, but we're just going to look currently at price and then look a bit back, further back. Okay, so I can see that price reached here. So I'm going to mark that blue once again, because that is my floor or support. And I can also see that we've got some lows here. This is more of a stronger zone for me, because I can see that price touched it here, 1, touched it here, 2, touched it here, 3, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to mark this area up. Okay, so as you can see, 1, 2, obviously price went slightly below here, but I don't count those ones. Okay, 3, 4, 5, it's touched it quite a few times. So that's a good, strong zonal area. And then I can see that there is an area here as well. Okay, so I'm going to mark this up red and make this a bit lighter. Okay, so I've got my main resistant areas in a dark red and my main support areas in a dark blue. And then all the little mini support zones or mini resistance zones, I'm marking up in a finer line. Okay, so as you can see here, price has touched it, bounced off, came to this area here, went up to the ceiling again, bounced off, came through to the main ceiling and has bounced off again. Okay, so this is what I am doing so that you can see. And once I've done that in a 1 hour time frame, this may seem very long-winded for you, but I kid you not, and I promise you it's going to save you entering in on trades that decide to go in the opposite direction, because you are able to see this. Okay, so with price action, and when you are trading, price continues to respect a 1 hour time frame and a 15-minute time frame. It does respect the 5-minute time frame as well, but as you can imagine, through the day, especially at various points, 5-minute time frame, it can break through different zones and it's not strong enough. Okay, it's like having an actual wall and having a plasterboard. That's essentially my analogy. My analogies are so off, but I hope you understand what I mean. Okay, so you've got your 1 hour time frame, and you've marked up, you then go to step 3. Okay, so if you can't see any more zones, you're going to be going to step 3, which is drop down to the 15-minute time frame. And the reason why we're dropping down to the 15-minute time frame is so that we can see if there's any other areas of mini support or mini resistance that we can see. Okay, and straight away I can see an area here. Okay, I can see this area here, which I'm going to mark up. I don't usually mark up in red or blue. I just put lines so I know that there's specific areas that price may react to. Okay, and then that's the main area. That's the main area I can see from here. And then once you've done 15 minutes and you cannot find any other more zones, what you can then do is then go to your 5 minutes, which is where you're going to be looking to take a trade. And just like I said earlier, when we were looking at this trade, I said I would wait for it to come up here. And exactly based on my analysis, truly price does need to come up here before we look to take a sell. So if we are going to look to take a sell on AUD USD, it would only be at the 504 price. Okay, either 504 or 496. The best entry would be 504, but if we get 496, that would also be a good zone to enter in on. So I'm actually going to mark that up to be a little bit green and just see how we get on for the rest of the session. So essentially, this is how you mark up for Liberty. Okay, I'm also going to put one here on 5 minutes because price rejected off this area here. Okay, so once you've got that, you've got a good idea of where price or what price might do. Okay, look how widely these web strings are spread open. That's what you ideally want. When it is moving inside the clouds, at the end of the day, this is a blue cloud. But if you do have a red cloud and price is within the cloud, sometimes you find that price isn't actually having a strong momentum. But I know price is because we can see that it's widely spread open and that you've got some good sell opportunities that have started. Okay, but you'll get better areas from here onwards. Okay, so if that is making sense, type some 2s in the chat box. So if that has made sense so far, type some 2s in the chat box. Let me open the chat box quickly. I've seen this myself. Can you still enter? Danny, let me know which one that is. Is that AUD USD? If it's AUD USD, let me know. How can we get these videos? Do you mean, Benson, do you mean the recordings of the videos I do? Okay, good. So I can see some 2s coming through. So glad that everyone is understanding this one. Okay, so for the recordings, all the recordings are, let me move everything out of the way, are always on my YouTube channel. So once you go to YouTube, just type in my name. And once you've typed in my name, you will see all the recordings there. Okay, so for example, last week's recording is here. Okay, as soon as I finish the sessions, normally I would upload it the next day, but what I'm doing now is recording straight to the computer and uploading straight away. So, you know, if you are up at goodness knows what time, you are able to watch it, or the following morning, or at times that suit you. When you do click on the video to, you know, watch it, make sure that you are clicking subscribe and obviously clicking like if it does help you in any way. You can feel free to leave a message as well if you want to. Okay, so that is how you are able to look at all the recordings and find out where they are. Yes, as it's below the blue cloud. Let me see. Yes, okay, so normally, okay, Danny, that's a good question. Okay, so normally, if price is closed, let me find an area where it's, let me give you a good example, better example. Okay, so for this one, for example, right, you can see we've got a blue cloud and price is below it. Just because price is below a blue cloud doesn't actually mean we're going in for a sell. What this means, the only reason why we're looking for that sell is because the web strings are nicely spread apart. Okay, so we had it spread apart like this, as you can see underneath the red cloud. Okay, but obviously making sure that you've done all of your analysis. So if we go back to where we've drawn up our lines, you can see how widely spread out that is. That's good. So all I'm going to do is wait for price to reach this 504 or 495 area, and then I can go in for a sell because it's safer. If you try and take a trade here just because it pops up with the sell, what you're doing is you're entering in mid, you know, halfway, or you're entering at an area where price may not clear. There's no point just taking a risk because, you know, we're impatient. I used to be that person. I used to be impatient. You know, I would look at this chart and I'd be like, you know, oh, price is going up. Oh, but price hasn't quite reached that area. Do you know what? Let me just go in here. And lo and behold, it's when I'm impatient, price does reach the area that you know it needed to get to, and then goes in the direction you want. You just have to be patient. This is going to exercise your patience very well, okay? Because if you want the nice free money that you are getting in minutes, you just need to wait a few minutes for it. You know, like I keep saying, even if our jobs, if you are on hourly rate, you wait a whole month, or you have to work for hours and wait a whole month before you get paid. Most people that are in a 9 to 5 or in any sort of job where you're not self-employed or have your own business, you do wait a month to get paid. Okay, you do wait a month to get paid unless they decide they want to pay you weekly. Okay, so that is that element done. I'm going to take you through a buy. So let's go and look at a buy. I'm going to just let this do what it wants to do. Yeah, I'll let this do what it wants to do. And let's look at USD JPY. Okay, so same steps. So what are we doing first? So now I'm on the 1 hour time frame. What is step one? So if you were following, type this in the chat box. So what are we doing next? Now that I've clicked on a new currency, the default is 1 hour. What do I need to do? Type it up in the chat box for me so I know. Not quite, Danny. Not quite. Close though. Not 15 minutes. Great, fantastic. Check 5 minutes. Well done, Danny. Well done, Kemi. Okay, so we're going straight to the 5 minutes and we're going to check to see if it's a good trade to take or not. Okay, so we're on the 5 minutes. Let me just make it a bit bigger. Okay, so once again, this is nicely spread out. This is nicely spread out. We are coming to a blue cloud, but look at this. From where you had the blue cloud and price started spreading open, you had so many entries. Look, bye, bye, bye. You had 1, 2, 3. Then obviously price continued going. So what price, the thing is about price, right? You're never going to see price go in one direction and not do any pullback. Price always does a pullback because it needs to. it needs to come back and retest a certain area, or, you know, come down to a specific zone before it makes its move again. And one of the reasons why it needs to do that is just so that it's like a catapult is the correct word I like to use. It's like a catapult. It has to pull back so it can go even further. Okay, so I'm just trying to get a line in. Just bear with me 1 second. I'm gonna bring it up in a moment. Don't know why it's not appearing for some reason. No, I'm not sure why it's not appearing. Okay, so what you would do anyway, let's continue. What you would do is, based on this, you check the 5 minutes. It looks like a good setup. We go to the 1 hour time frame. Now that you checked, it looks like a good setup. Maybe come in. Let's go to the 1 hour time frame, which is step number 2. And you're going to be marking up once again highs and lows. Okay, I don't need to go this far back, but I can see where price is. Let me see, price is currently here and it's rejecting off this zonal area. Price may want to come back to where it's reached before. Okay, so based on that, I'm going to click these areas. So once again, I'm marking up my resistance areas, my main zone. And the reason why I've put this line there, even though it may not be thick enough for you to see, is because price rejected off this area. 1, 2, 3. It couldn't go past this. And guess what happened? It did a big drop to the downside. Okay, so price is trying to go back up. You can see price is climbing back up. It's like being kicked off a wall. Price is currently here. Okay, price is currently here, which is the low area of this area here, but it's actually gone past that. So the likelihood is it'll probably go up here or try and do a pullback to this zone. I'll mark this in for you. Put that as blue. Okay, put this in for you because price once again is bouncing around here, broke through. Price is now broken through this area. Okay, so we're going to probably get some good buy opportunities quite soon. And another area that we may look at to take a buy from, you can see is here. Okay, so price may be doing a pullback to either this zone or trying to reach the last high, which is this area here, before going in the opposite direction. Okay, so let me try and draw it in for you. I do like to see, it's called path, but I can't actually find it on here for whatever reason. And I don't know why. Normally it's here, but it's not. Okay, so I'm going to use this one. Okay, so as you can see, price has broken through. It's hit this area here. It's come back down. It's gone up. So the likelihood is it's going to come back to this line here, which is at what price? At 504, and then make its way up. Okay, so making its way on the upside. Once you've done that on the 1 hour and you can't see any other areas, I can see one more here, which is this area here. Just going to mark that in. Okay, and the reason why I've marked up this one so you can understand is this served as a resistance for this area. So as price was moving up, this was a resistance, bounced off, hit the resistance, bounced off, hit the resistance, bounced off, and then finally broke through the resistance. If any of you have watched, if you've done traditional Forex, they usually say price reacts towards a zone about 3 to 4 times before it either breaks through. And lo and behold, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it decided to break through. Okay, hence the reason why you can't just stay on one currency pair and wait for it to keep coming to the same zone, because eventually eventually it will break through or go in the opposite direction. Okay, now that it's broken through, this was the new resistance. It's like a floor. It's broken through the ceiling. Now the old ceiling is now the new floor. Okay, so this is now the ceiling. It's touched it, bounced off to the old ceiling that was there before, bounced through it, has come back down, and is here. So the likelihood is it would return to this 504 area before making its way up. Okay. Once you've checked the 1 hour, we're then going to go to the 15-minute time frame. Okay, and on the 15-minute time frame, we're doing the same thing that we did for the sell. So it doesn't matter if you're going in for a buy or sell, it's the same principle that you look at doing. Okay, so we've got some buys. We wouldn't be taking these buys because, as you can see, price is widely open and it's on a 15-minute, but we'll just wait till we look at the 5-minute. Can I see any other zones? You'll see a light one here, but I wouldn't really even class that as a zone, but I'll draw this in for my own reference. And I will mark this up as red. There we go. I'll just mark this area here. And then once you can't find any other areas, we're then going to be looking for 5 minutes. Okay, we're looking at the 5-minute time frame. Okay, so as I said, we're either waiting for 504, price may return to this little lined area that I put in, which is at 533, before going in for a buy. As you can see, it has called for a buy, but I wouldn't be taking this buy just yet. My reason being, I can see that, once again, that was the last high, and the price does need to kind of do a pullback. If you look previously, it has called some buys. Can you see, look, it called for a buy, it didn't go. Called for a buy here, didn't clear. Called for a buy here, didn't clear. Called for a buy here, didn't clear. So once again, let's just wait, okay? You only know after the candle has either done its pullback or it has completely broken and passed the last high, okay? Meaning any of these. These are the last lows, you see? So price would need to break these last highs for there to be a clear indication that price wants to continue in the upward direction. Okay, so let me just open the chat box. There it is, just rose for 1 hour. What is the Wi-Fi sign? Okay, so this little Wi-Fi, I don't understand the rose for 1 hour, but yeah, the Wi-Fi signal that you're seeing here, I call it a Wi-Fi signal as well. It just shows when they called this, okay? So when you see that Wi-Fi sign, that is the exact price that they are calling for a buy. Okay, so they are calling for you to take a buy when you see this little Wi-Fi symbol. So as you can see here, it was called 3 hours ago, and it was called at price 110,505. Obviously in HFX, we only say the last three numbers, which is 505. Look, 505 is right here. And lo and behold, look, this is the amazing thing at marking up your charts. Look at that. 504 is where I called the area for price to pull back to. Isn't that funny? So it's around the same area. So the entry price they gave you for a buy is the same area that they're giving to you, which also definitely confirms that price does need to pull back to this area, or at least close to it, before making its way to the upside. Okay. Can you set alerts if it were to break through? Yes, you can, but not on Liberty. So if you want to set up alerts, if you've been on any of the trading sessions, so live trading sessions with me, you will know that I use TradingView alongside Liberty. So what currency are we looking at? USD JPY. USD, where is it? There we go. USD JPY. Okay, so once you have this open, you can see that there are certain areas. Let me just close this to make it 2 window. Okay, so I normally split my screen to have a 5-minute and a 15-minute. You can only do these split screen stuff if you've got a paid version, unfortunately. But you can just have a one window. It doesn't really matter. You can flick between the two. So you can get this for free, but obviously you won't have access to, multiple windows open at the same time. Okay, once you've looked here, let me click here. Once you've clicked here, and I was waiting for a break at 505, for example, let me just show you how you would set up an alert. Okay, so I would just put a line in anywhere. Doesn't matter where you could put it, you put even lower here, and you will just double click on the line. Okay, once you double click on the line, it will say coordinates, and we're looking at 505. So all I'm going to do is change the last 3 digits to 505, click enter, and it has moved my line for me to exactly 505. Once I've done that, if I right click, I can click add an alert on horizontal ray. So once it's crosses, as you can see, crossing the horizontal ray, it will notify me on the app, which I have on my phone or on the laptop, and I just click create. Once I've clicked create, you can see the little clock there. So when price does break this area, let me just go, it's 50 minutes. When price does break this area or this zone, it will alert me. That's all. That's all you need to do. How can we get on your live trading sessions? So I do them at the end of the month with Bryony, with my team, which is Kingdom Finance, and Bryony's team, which is A team. So that's end of the month. And then obviously I do my own personal team trading sessions as well. Okay. So yeah, so that's essentially how you put on alerts on TradingView. Okay. Good to utilize if you can. Once again, the alerts is for those on the paid package, but it's useful. I do use it once again in conjunction when taking additional confirmations. Okay. Where else? Yes, so that is essentially Webslinger. Webslinger, love it. Millie Mills also uses it. So if you haven't jumped onto any of Millie Mills' sessions, jump on with her, because what she always does is explain and go through the chart first before, you know, just jumping into trades. It's not a thing of just, she just calls out trades. She teaches, she takes time, and she's really good at explaining as well. Okay, next one we're going to be looking at, oh, there you go, little red candle appearing. Let's hopefully see that come down. Okay, so let me just look at the last one we looked at. We looked at AUD USD before, didn't we? Yep. Okay, so we were waiting for AUD USD to touch this area, and it did already. You can see this. Oh, that's 1 hour. That's why. Let's go to 5 minutes. Okay, so it's still working its way up. Still working its way up. Obviously, we marked it up when price was here. So yeah, it's still working its way up. We're waiting for it to touch around that 495 area before we go in for our sell. Okay, where was I? Can I even set up an alert? Let me quickly set up an alert on that one. AUD USD. Move this out of the way. What was it? 495. Once again, just right clicking, setting up an alert. Done. Ta-da. Okay, so let's go and have a look at Simple Scalper. Okay, so let's have a look at Simple Scalper. So once again, you do have Simple Scalper Original, which has nothing next to it, and you have Simple Scalper 2.0. Okay, if you want to understand how the original Simple Scalper works, once again, if you go to Go Live, it's the same area. So you can either once again access it in IM Center and click Go Live, or you could just once again type in golive.im and it will appear. So to access her, you know, previous videos, you just click on her name, go to favorite sessions. Oh, goodness. And then you can look at how to become the best HFX trader, part 1, and how to become the best disciplined HFX trader, part 2. Or you could be looking at some of her old Simple Scalper videos. They're still very efficient to understanding why you wait for certain confirmations and what we're looking for in the indicators. Okay, so looking at Simple Scalper 2.0, I did touch upon areas of this last week as well. And what we're going to be doing is the same exact thing. So you're going to be looking at 5 minutes first. And, you know, they do say Simple Scalper is good for markets that are just moving sideways, okay? So markets that are moving in a sideways motion are the best times to be using Simple Scalper, but you can still use Webslinger in my opinion. I personally prefer the layout and the look of Webslinger to take my trades from. in comparison to Simple Scalper. I did used to use Simple Scalper, but then I started to find the tricks, which are the ones that I shared with you today, to find out when price is trending and when price is in a consolidation phase. So what consolidation means, it just means the market is moving sideways. So for example, here, if I just draw this in a dark green, actually, no, can I just do a box? Let's do a box. Where's the box? Right. Okay, so you can see price was moving in that consolidation phase around here. That doesn't help. There we go. Okay, so around here, price is just touching here, down, up, down, up. So it's in that zone. Once again, you can find another consolidation phase here. Okay, so from this area. Okay, once again, price is just, let me just drag this up. Price is just moving from here, down, up, down, up, down. So you could just be taking buys and sells in that consolidation phase. You know, some people love when the market is consolidating. So, you know, if that's you, great. But other than that, this is what you'd be doing. You'd be taking it for, you'd be looking at the 5-minute time frame. You can tell I'm tired. Apologies. Okay, so you'll be looking at the 5-minute time frame. We're looking at gold at the moment. So when you see XAU USD, this is gold. If you see XAG USD, this is silver. Okay, let us look at USD JPY and change that to 5 minutes. Okay, so once you are on here on USD JPY on 5 minutes, what you're going to be doing is looking at the bottom. Okay, so the reason why we look at the bottom is it's easier to align things from the bottom to the top as opposed to starting from the top. Okay, so what do we look for here? We are looking at some clouds. Okay, so these are actually called Elliott waves. So these are Elliott wave indicators. And when, once again, it's the same sort of principle as Webslinger. When we see a blue cloud, we want to go in for a buy. When we see a red cloud, we want to look for a sell. But there's also something I want you to pay attention to, which is the lines that cut through. Okay, so you can see the lines that are cutting through. That shows us the momentum or when there is a change. Okay, so when we see a blue cloud and a blue line cutting through, this means great momentum is moving in that direction. We've still got a blue cloud, but look what happens. We then start to see a red line appear. When this red line appears, this shows that market is having not a reversal, but it could be a pullback or a reversal. Okay, either of the two. But we tend to see a reversal or a pullback. And as you can see, it was at the top and started to pull back quite sharply. Okay, and then it turned into a red cloud. Okay, meaning that is in a sell. We also know it's a great sell because the red line then entered the Elliott wave and has continued all the way through. Out of this red Elliott wave, we see a blue appear, which means although price has been going, like I said, market never just moves in one direction. Okay, price has gone in for a sell, is doing a bit of a pullback, and this is where it's at the moment. Okay, or this could have been the pullback, this little red zone. So let's have a look at that in a wider perspective. Okay, so as you can see, price was in for a buy from here. Buy, 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 buy. And then we get here and it's evident that price is going in for a pullback. So bearing in mind price is here, we're now seeing it pull all the way down. It's continued and then starts to turn into a buy from here. Okay, it starts to turn into a buy from here, but it's not a clear one because it's not in a blue cloud. So ideally, let's go into how you use this. 5 minutes. Starting from the bottom, we've got a blue cloud with the blue line cutting through. Check for a buy. You need a blue line here on the second indicator. And these indicators are called histograms. Okay, so histogram area, you would need that area to pop up. Okay, so what I'm going to do to make it nice and easy is line them up for you so that we're ticking it off. So is it blue here? Yes, it is. We put that there, so it's green. Is this area blue? Yes, it is. If you find that it's gray, let me open it up wide enough for you. So if we find that, you've got a blue line, it shows blue for a sell. If you've got a red line, it shows red for a sell. That doesn't make sense. Blue for a buy. So you've got blue for a buy, red for a sell. And obviously, if you've got the gray ones, it means that there's no clear direction as to where the market is moving. So it means that it's in that consolidation phase, or there's no clear direction if it's a buy or a sell. Okay, so we've got a blue area on that area. And we also have the blue candle. So we've got 1 confirmation, 2 confirmation, 3 confirmation, and then we're going to look for our 4th confirmation. Can you all see these little dots? Let me just click on it. You've got these little dots. I'm going to make them nice and dark for you so you can see it a bit better. Okay, these little black dots underneath. My favorite indicator in traditional trading, as I've mentioned before. So when these little dots are underneath price, what it's doing is essentially is carrying the candle up. When you have those little black dots on top of the candle, it means it's pushing price down. Okay, so this little dot is underneath the blue candle, and we've got a blue candle, and we've got a buy signal there. Okay, so we're going to line that up. So let's count how many confirmations we've got. We've got 1, 2, 3, and obviously this area being 4. You want 4 confirmations or more. Okay, you want 4 confirmations or more, but there's also something you're going to look at. Remember what I said earlier about avoiding when trades do a reversal or go the wrong way or decide that they want to do, something else. Good way of figuring that out is by looking at the Bollinger Bands. Okay, so the Bollinger Bands are these areas that you see here. Okay, so you've got the red Bollinger Band and you've got the blue Bollinger Band. Okay, when it's on top of this middle line, ideally it does count to be a buy. Okay, it is going in for a buy. When to go in from that, we do not want price to be close to the Bollinger Band. We want price to be as close to this middle area as possible. Why? Because once again, it's like that elastic that I explained to you earlier. When price is hitting the Bollinger Band, there is a high likelihood that price will reject off it. Okay. If we look at a sell area or a sell zone, price is hitting this blue area, there's a likelihood that price should reject off of it. They say ride the waves, but you're only riding the waves once it's close to this middle median line. That's my way of trading if I am using the simple scalper. Okay, when it's close to this middle line and it's underneath, it's great for a sell. It's close to it, as you can see. So look, great for a sell. It's lining up. Okay, starting to line up, especially in these areas where you can find other matches. Let me just go back to another area that I can find for a buy, or to give you a better example. This is obviously a sell for a very long time. But look, we've got some good areas for a buy here. Okay, can you see it's still quite close to the Bollinger Band, but this is a better example. Ones that have just left, they've broken through this little middle line and we're getting things matching up. So we've got a line here, it's close to the middle, we've got the parabolic sign underneath, we've got the blue histogram, and it's starting to go into a blue cloud. That is a good option or good idea to go for a buy. Okay, so this is how you can find good opportunities with the simple scalper. Let me just open up the chat box. Let me also just look at where price is. I have to go back to Webslinger again, don't I? Yep. I don't really use pickpocket. I think I probably used, I've looked at it is the correct word. I probably used and maybe looked at it, and I have looked at it and probably used it once or twice. Not my kind of thing. AUD USD has deleted my lines, but I'm sure I said 495, which is here. So it is going in for a sell. These are some good sell opportunities, but once again, I put my low here and price is rejecting of it. Okay, so don't let this fool you. I'm going to put that back in there. It's basically deleted my drawings because I changed to a different strategy. Okay, so this is where I put my marking before. That was the low. So I would only be looking to take sales if this candle breaks and closes underneath. Why is that? So if this candle breaks, it's still got 2 minutes and 35 seconds. If this candle breaks and closes fully underneath this line, then I will be looking for sell opportunities. My reasons why. This area is a strong area for support. Okay, so price keeps hitting here, bouncing off, hitting here. It's trying its best to break through. It hasn't yet. Okay, this candle, as you can see, broke through. Look at that. You're thinking, yeah, it's going in for a sell. This is what you probably would have done. Okay, it's come up with a sell opportunity. It's coming into a sell card. You try and take it early. Yay, I'm in profit. You start being happy, and then price decides that it's going to do a big rejection and close below this red line. Okay, I've seen it so many times before. So we're going to wait to see what happens on this one. Once again, if price closes underneath fully this line, if it closes underneath, then we'd be looking for sells. If not, we're not going to be looking for sells. Okay, let's look at the chat box. Shantae, we are waiting for the price to reach 495 on AUD USD, but for 3 minutes and to sell. Yes, yes to sell. Yes to sell. For a sell on that area. Let me just move this out the way and look again. Yep, 495. What time frame would you use to trade consolidation? So you would still use 5-minute time frame. Some people like to use shorter time frames. I don't. I still stick to 5 minutes. And obviously you can, vary that. If you are a person that likes to be in 3-minute trades, you can use that consolidation area. And make sure you have your box or your lines around it, so you know the only areas you're going to be buying from and selling from. So let me try and open up Simple Scalper in another tab. Will that work? Yes, it did. So if I went on to 1-minute time frame, let's go and look for a consolidation area. Not really. I'm going to try and find one that has a good example, better example. Let me look on the 5-minute, then it's easier. There we go. Knew it'd be easier. It's always easier because prices, don't forget, when you go to 1 minute, it's broken down into even more mini sections. Okay, so let's look at this area here. Okay, so we've got this area here. So that means I only want to be selling from, let me move this out of the way again. I only want to be selling from 509, and I only want to be buying from around the 637. And lo and behold, look, you just sit there, 637, sell. Sorry, 509, sell. When it gets around the 637, buy. 509, sell. 637, buy. And you'd be doing that. You could do that, goodness knows, until this price decides to break through. Hence the reason why some people like it. If we go onto the 1-minute time frame, let's go and find that green box. As I told you, when it breaks in, it looks nice and easy when it's in 5 minutes. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why I use 5 minutes, but you can use 1 minute if you prefer to do so. Okay, same areas, same zones. You'll be waiting, and you do not take trades in between price. Okay, so from here, let me move and so I can look at the time. So price touched that 509 area around 5:30 and reached the bottom at 5:43. So that's 13 minutes waiting for that buy and that sell. That's if you find consolidation zones, or if you would prefer to kind of trade those areas. So that is consolidation. Very informative session, Shantae. Okay, yes, that's fine. By middle line, do you mean the dots? So the middle line, I mean, is this area. Let me try and see if I can make it darker. Style median. There we go. So I'm going to make the median purple and make it really thick. Is purple good enough? Let me use orange. There we go. Let's make it orange. Okay, and make this bigger. Okay, so I meant this middle bit. So when price, let's look at this area. Okay, so price is moving forward, is moving up towards it. I would only be looking for everything to line up. Okay, once price is broken through this middle zone, this is a fantastic area for you to be looking for buys. Why? Because it's above the median. If price is below the median, okay, so like you can see here, price is moving below the median, we're looking for some sells, okay? We're looking for sells, but once again, you're waiting for everything to match up. When you are using Simple Scalper, you don't always have to wait for these sell arrows. You don't have to have them. You can get 4 confirmations and go in. You do not necessarily have to wait for the buy arrow. That's just an additional confirmation. Okay, so let me just type in simple scalper for you on my notes. There we go. Is this it? There we go. Yeah. Okay, so you've got your 4 different, let me just show you my notes. You've got 4 different confirmations. I take notes of all the strategies. Okay, so you've got it all here of what you need to do. Once again, these same notes that I have taken is from watching videos. This is last year, my notes from last year on Simple Scalper. So once again on Millie Mills. So she always tells you the 4 confirmations. If you collect a sell arrow or a buy arrow, it then gives you 5 confirmations, which some people like. Okay. So yeah, I hope that one explains that element. Right, let's go and look back at what we were looking at. Oh, look, so that candle, even though it was red, didn't actually close as a red candle. So my point has been proven that it is rejecting off it. And as you can see, price is still working up, and we were waiting for 495. Okay, so still waiting for 495, which is once again here. Okay, still waiting for this area. So price is still rejecting off this area and didn't close. If all it did is it moved down a little bit and then decided to go the opposite way. And this is what you do not want. I kid you not, looking at your broker, or if you take trades on your brokers, you'll be happy for a few seconds, but just marking up your charts and being diligent and consistent with that will save you. Okay. But yes, that is the end of tonight's session. If you do have any questions, please do write them in the chat box. If you haven't yet connected with me, you can also, ask me questions or send me any questions via Instagram as well. Well done to all of you that have been utilizing Cash Trap. I know a lot of you have been loving it. I sat there on the phone yesterday helping someone out. I was just like, oh, let me look at Cash Trap because of the time. And yeah, if you can wait for 4 points setups or more, spot on. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed tonight's session. I hope you have found it very useful and informative. But other than that, I will see you again next week, Tuesday, by God's grace. But other than that, have a fantastic week and speak